been a long time. What's going on, good people? Welcome to another episode of the 710 Slickville Show. And for those folks over in Curacao, shout out to Masha Donkey. That means thank you very much. Thank you so much. We back again. I'm glad to be back.
Me too.
How's everybody doing in these
Hey,
streets?
Everyone.
How y'all doing?
Hey.
Missed you.
I know.
Happy New Year.
I missed y'all.
Happy New Year.
To everybody out here. Like I said,
Everyone.
thank you again for tuning in.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to this show today. But before, let me introduce myself. I am your host, Jay Brown, a.k.a. Mr. 710, and I am joined by...
Hello, I am Sway Kenyetta.
And we got...
Erica Tiffany.
What up? Listen, guys, you know this is an interactive show, so like, share, comment, tell your mama. Yeah, she gonna wanna hear about this. Today we will be on the show since last week. We also gonna talk about this surviving R. Kelly. We're gonna talk about this government shutdown, and we're gonna also talk about this lady that got pregnant while she was in a 14-year coma. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole lot of stuff going on. Yeah, y'all heard that right. 14 years. And somebody out here getting that
Snatching it.
on. Yak it. Anyway, like I said, guys, share this feed, like, share, comment. Call in if you got any comments, because this is going to be that show. 470-251-4343. But since last week, how y'all been doing? Well, since
last week.
year.
Since last year.
Sure,
How y'all
yeah.
been doing in these
It's been like 3 weeks. It's been good. Visited family. Got a chance to kind of slow down and spend time with family and friends. So I've been out of town mostly, but it's been good. I had a great holiday season. New Year's, everything's great.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
dope.
had a good time. What about you?
Same thing. We went out of town for Christmas to Louisiana. Saw some of Gerald's family. New Year's, got a hotel and did a Secret Santa for New
Okay.
Year's downtown. So kept it real low key
Yeah.
and had a great time.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Now
Well-
you the one did some. You the one left the
Yeah,
country.
you're doing it big.
Nah, yeah.
Passport status.
We thugged it out just a little bit. We went on a little cruise and with the wife and some cruise buddies that we have now, and like it was dope. It was good to get away. Shout out to Fred, Kelly, Andre, and Steph. It was good. We went to Aruba, we went to Curacao, we went to Grand Turks, and whenever you go out, I feel like you don't waste money when you travel because of the experiences that you get while you're going, when you go. And so I'm always down for that. One thing about Aruba, I didn't realize, like, that's Aruba off the beach, cactus land.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, it's cactus everywhere. Everywhere. It's
never
cactus.
heard that about a Aruba.
No, I would never guess that.
Everybody stay on the beach.
Everybody stay on the beach.
Stay down on the resort. Because, most of these places like Curacao was the only place that was nice off the beach.
Mhm.
Like, it was straight off the beach. Although their liquor store did close.
Too early.
Yeah, way too early. Like, we went about 1 o'clock trying to get some of that white. And it
1 in the
just-
morning or 1?
No, 1 p.m.
Really?
Yeah, 1 p.m.
That's way
And
too early.
It shut down. And I was like,
That's
"Geez
way too early.
Louise, that don't make no sense out here." And so, okay. So what we ended up doing was we ended up going over to this cigar bar, and I told this
Hey.
girl I thought about you when we walked in there. And so we went in there, and I gotta roast this girl. Shout out to Francesca and Young Jay, them the people that worked in there. So I walk in, and the ladies, Francesca's looking like I done had enough of this day already.
Oh, boy.
And it was 1 o'clock. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock
In the afternoon.
in the afternoon. She was completely over it. And so I was like, hey, you straight, because you got that look. Like, I need to actually make sure you okay. And so when she so we started talking, then she started asking me all these hard questions like, what type of cigars do you like? And
those aren't hard questions. Those are typical questions that you're asked when you go into a cigar bar.
But see, I didn't know, and so she was judging me.
Oh, she was okay.
She started judging me.
Oh well, wow.
And so
You should have got some pointers from me before you left, so I could have you at least sounding like you know what you're talking about when you smoke cigars.
See, I didn't know I was going to a cigar bar.
That's true. Okay, that's true.
Now you know.
We just rolled up in that spot, and so yeah. So she was judging me. She was asking me all these difficult questions. So what type? What's you remember the name of the last cigar you smoked? And I was like, well, damn, I don't smoke cigars like that. So no, still judging again.
Judging.
So I ended up with a $7 Mariba. Mariba.
Did you bring me one back since you thought about me when you went in there?
No.
Wow.
But it was one that you probably could have got. It was only $7. I didn't get a good one.
Wow.
Because I don't smoke like that. But they did hit me with a V cut. And so,
oh, okay.
Yeah, they hit me with a V cut. I learned something.
Okay, look at you. Okay.
She asked me that question still. She was like, so you want a regular cut or a V cut? And I was just like,
I'm going to guess and say V cut.
What cut would you like? Of course, it was a V cut.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
And there we go. So I got that, and then she was like, "You know what? This drink goes really good with these cigars." And it was an aged rum that tasted like a liquid cigar. It tasted like cigar juice.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Yeah, I don't think I would like that
It was
either.
disgusting. I know.
You learn all this.
I forgot what that meant, but if it's a cuss word, it was directed at Francesca. But yeah, it was dope. They was all dope. They and shoot, hold on, where's my bag? And so in my bag, they gave me this thing. I was like, it's over there. So in the front part, there's it should be a little cigar thing. It look like a roll. It'll stand out if it's in there. It's a little black. No, that's not it. But anyway, so they gave me these little pieces of stick. They're brown, and I was just like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And she was like, well, this is what you can use to light it if you don't have you don't see a paper box in there. It's all good if you don't. No, it's all good. It's all good. And so it's probably about this long, about that long, and they gave it to me, and they was like, yeah, you can use this to light it. And I was like, is this flint? Like, it still needed a lighter, but they was like, if you light it with a cigarette lighter, then, I mean, yeah, you're gonna get the fumes in there. Whereas if you light the little wick thing first, it causes the natural fire, and it's not gonna mess up your mess up the taste of it. So I learned some things today. Shout out to them once again. I wrote down Candela Cigar Lounge is what the name of it is in Curacao. Go ahead and sponsor the show. If you ain't against it, I gave you some free plugs right there for everybody out there. But yeah, and then Grand Turks was like Donkey Land. It was donkeys.
Random.
It was donkeys all over.
That's random too.
All over Grand Turk. Like you leave the little port, go out there, and it smell like doo-doo everywhere. You see big turds all over the streets. And then it's a donkey here, it's a donkey there, it's a donkey there. Just all over the place.
They loose.
Savage.
They loose. Keith, we gonna get to that R. Kelly joint. We definitely gonna get to that R. Kelly. They already asked.
They ready?
I'm here for the madness right now. But yeah, and then Grand Turks also seem like this Hurricane Alley. It's just hurricane coming through there nonstop. So it's like most of the places didn't have roofs.
Oh man,
they got no roof. That's so silly. All right, but before we get to the surviving R. Kelly, I do want to talk about the pregnant woman, the comatose lady. that was in a coma for 14 years. But before I get to that, we have a word from our sponsor, Beyond Clean. Beyond Clean is a dedicated service-oriented business that strives to make your cleaning experience user-friendly, safe, affordable, and readily available to all our clients. Our company owners and staff have been federal and state fingerprinted, criminal background checked, and drug tested. We're currently licensed and serve in the state of Georgia, Illinois, and Indiana. We tailor our services to meet all your cleaning needs, and to better assess how we can help, we offer free estimates. All our work is backed by 100% satisfaction guarantee, so please contact us at 708-829-4102 or via email at beyondcleancleaningservices@yahoo.com. Boom. All right.
All right. We paid the bills.
Paid them bills. What up? Shout out to everybody that's in the chat room. Guys, if you haven't shared this feed, go ahead and share this feed. I see y'all up in there. I thank you all for tuning in. We are getting ready to talk about this surviving R. Kelly, but first we're going to talk about this pregnant lady. And so, yeah, she was comatose for 14 years, which I don't know who leaves people up under for that long unless you just really got, faith that she going to come out. That's a long time for me.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, she ended up pregnant. And then nobody at the home or anything, family or anything, realized it until she was about to have a baby. Well, until she was having a baby. She was in labor, like she was delivering the baby.
While in a coma.
She's in a vegetative state. So
state.
she's aware. She actually started moaning and making noise. And that's when they were like, what's wrong with her? She's like in pain. And literally that's when they figured out that she's delivering a baby. It's unreal.
That's crazy.
It's abusive. It's crazy.
So who's the male nurse that they arrested? Cause
they haven't found him yet.
They ain't arrested nobody yet.
I mean, they're going to have to do DNA tests on every worker that's ever been there and changed out her cleaning clothes.
Goodness.
And I mean, think about how many people might have gone through there and just not paid attention. And more than likely, this didn't happen on the first try.
Right. Like,
you know what I mean?
In
like
a real relationship with this person.
I mean, if you think about it, the odds of... But I mean, I'm also wondering.
You talking about a real relationship? You're silly.
Like, cause you gotta understand, like it.
Oh, it's not a relationship. It's rape. It's
I know, but I ain't want to laugh.
Like,
I didn't.
But
I
got raped several times.
In this person's mind, like it probably didn't start with, I'm just gonna go in here and hit it. Like, it was probably an escalation, which is disgusting by itself. But it was probably an escalation that led up to like, dang, I can get away with this. But then, like, that person got to be crazy to even think, like, oh, this is going to be all right. Like, he in there hitting it raw. On top of that, like, she ain't got nothing.
I don't think that's...
What?
That's how it
Stop.
goes.
I don't want to laugh.
That's not how it goes. I mean, first of all, he's a rapist,
Absolutely.
number one. And then, it's a passion crime of what you can get away with. That the idea that he could go in here and get away with it. Maybe he was just the guy who's supposed to clean up the towels. And next thing you know, one day he touches her and she doesn't move. She don't say nothing. He's like, wait a minute. Okay. And then it's in your mind. I'll try this. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Hopefully they bring it to justice.
Yeah, I hope
and
so.
Find out who did that.
So,
Cigar P said so they didn't see her stomach growing.
That's what we can't understand.
Yeah.
What kind of abuse is the hospital under for not knowing that this woman's stomach is getting bigger? I mean, obviously I got 6 weeks left. So
tiny self.
The idea that you can't notice this and the boobs getting bigger and the body changing.
It took me 6 months to know you was pregnant, so hey.
Look, she was in
it's moving. The stomach moves. It bounces. It's
somebody.
Nobody's checking her.
Right.
Like,
you gotta watch her.
She
She's
needs
not
a bath. Somebody, a
cycle anymore. I mean, it's off.
Right.
I don't get it.
Those things still take place while you're in a...
Yeah, your body's naturally gonna... they gotta take care of you. And then what about her blood work? You're telling me that at no point in your blood work you're doing testing on her in the 9 months that someone says it's elevated in this area. But you know what also made me think about is how much overprotection doctors have on having a pregnancy versus someone who got pregnant and did the whole 9 months laying down in a bed.
Right.
They want you on vitamins. They want you on shots. You got to get this testing and that testing and this ultrasound.
And this person didn't do none of that.
Nothing.
And had a healthy baby.
Baby boy, healthy, no problems.
What?
And laid in the bed.
Yeah.
For 9 months.
they had to revive it because it was blue when it was coming out.
Well,
But
who knows how long he was in the birth canal trying to.
the crazy thing is like nobody she didn't get no yearlies or nothing.
Nothing. No
Like,
care.
Oh, this is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No vitamins and make sure you take folic acid.
I know. Tell all you.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Like I could just free.
Well, and that's
Free
been doing
range.
it for centuries. I mean, obviously, we
Right,
didn't have
that's
all
true.
this stuff previously, but it's a
Whole-
controversy.
Like
story.
when I heard it, I was like, "What? Like how did this
That-
happen? Like child support is just not going to be
What's
enough."
crazy too is that there's
of,
other young
punishment.
women who are in that hospital and young girls who are in that
Mm-hmm.
hospital. So you wonder,
What kind of hospital is this? Like, is
it's a
this
long
like,
term, not hospice because
Is this
people
a,
aren't dying yet,
like
but
clinic, like this. What
no,
is
like
this?
it's like if you're gonna be in a coma, they take you out of a regular hospital when you're like in bed
Right.
and take you into more of a hospice type, but you're not dying.
Okay.
So it's just long term care,
Yeah.
and it could be people who have multitude of
Mm-hmm.
issues
Those
and
type of
concerns.
institutions, yeah,
Yeah,
they're screened a little differently.
that's just insane. It's 100% insane. I saw what did Julian say in there? I can't see it.
BePregnantNow.com. What?
Oh, that's
What?
no, straight up. This is the real thing. I heard it on XM radio. I was listening to it. I was in St. Louis, and I was running to the grocery store, and BePregnantNow.com. They was interviewing the guy who created this, and this guy, you remember the movie that had Anthony Mackie in it? It was like She Hate Me or something like that.
Yes.
Where
yes, I saw that.
where these folks was out here and paying for this service.
Yes.
Like this dude is doing it for real.
Right.
Like-
I saw that.
Like this is a
What is he selling?
he sells education, but he's also the
selling
guy
it,
who out
yeah.
here getting it off.
Oh, if a woman wants to get pregnant and not
Yeah,
have
that's what
a
the
sperm
movie was
donor.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a donor. That's what he does.
I heard a story about some guy like that had over like 100 and something kids, and he's like obviously good looking. He signs the paperwork saying no child support.
Wow.
And goes out there and just
And he gives them what they want.
for people who don't want to have any kind of commitment
And
gets paid.
gets paid. Like he was looking at it like, hey, like dude asking like, why do you feel like you qualify for that? He was like, well, my brother's smart and we come from a good stock and I'm tall, I'm a decent looking guy, so
I wonder if it's the same guy. I think he said they started off with someone like a friend of his asked, hey, can you do it for me? Then he got a referral, and the next thing you know,
A referral.
like hey, your baby's cute.
This is the guy, baby.
That's the one.
This is the
guy.
guy, my friend. He got my wife pregnant. Like, no, that's horrible. I would never, that's horrible. I did to me.
But the movie was, I think, two lesbians that were in a relationship.
Sure.
And they asked
Petitioned
him.
him to,
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's what happened.
No, this is crazy. All right, so moving on from that crazy to the crazy that everybody really want to hear
Everybody's
about.
still talking about. The memes are hilarious.
The meme's been crazy.
Oh, the memes are around the surviving R. Kelly. It's been crazy.
So even like the one where the
Tommy.
Martin. No, I ain't seen that one, but I saw the Bad Boys too. When the little kid come to the thing, the little boy come to pick old girl up for the date, and Martin and Will come to the door and was like, "How old you is?" or whatever, and they got R. Kelly face on the boy's face, talking about 15. It's like, nigga, you look 30. Like they had that.
My favorite meme is the one from Belly with the girl on the phone talking to Keisha. She was like, he let me whatever. She said, y'all ain't locking up Tommy out here or no?
No, man, like.
Because she was 15. That's my favorite meme so far.
That is.
Y'all ain't locking up Tommy or nah?
Yo, all right, so with the surviving R. Kelly,
God.
I was tempted not to watch it.
Why?
I was tempted not to watch it because I just it's a hometown type situation in which we grew up to R.
You
Kelly's
are
music.
from the Chi.
Yeah, we grew up to his music, and what didn't we know already?
That's true.
That it was so many. Aaliyah took place. We knew that. We knew the tape
That's
took
true.
place. I never saw the tape.
Me neither.
I know a lot of people that did, And it was like, yo, it was him. But as I was watching it, I was just like, all right, you're hearing the same stories over and over and over again. And it's like, okay, you saw this, you knew this, you saw this, you knew this.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and you was helping.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, damn.
Mm-hmm.
How many of y'all gonna claim responsibility for your part in that, as opposed to, because, I mean, hell, he couldn't do all this stuff by himself.
Mm-hmm.
He needed some facilitating, which we'll get to that part, but why is the docuseries a breaking point for a whole lot of people?
Is it a breaking point for a whole lot of people? Shouldn't they have broke a long time ago? I mean, we've been who was doing it.
Well, I think I didn't watch it. Unfortunately,
I think
I'm not gonna watch it. I choose not to go into my 2019 with that madness on my mind. I think it's consumed a lot, and I feel sorry for the victims that have gone through that. But you're also commercializing it, and then now they say that they're going to move forward. Maybe pressing charges or whatever. But I think the fact that everybody's not telling the same lie is what finally people are coming together.
That's what
everybody's confirming the same story,
and it's reminding us of 2000 and 2006 in the trial, and so it's like everybody's saying, well, we knew he'd been doing it. Well, this docuseries just reminded us and brought it back.
We knew R. Kelly was a freak, so the question was like, okay, he's a freak, and that's kind of funny and that's cool, and when you really want to get down, you put 12 play on. Like, that was like, yeah, R. Kelly's a freak, so we kind of give him a pass for being a freak. When you think of R. Kelly as a predator, it becomes a different story, and it takes our mindset to change, because it's amazing to me that you could have somebody like Michael Jackson that we railroaded over, like, laying in the bed with a little boy. Like, are you crazy? He is insane. You don't lay in the bed with no kid. When Michael might have just had some kind of Peter Pan weird childhood issues. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus an R. Kelly who clearly has had multiple. I mean, we just heard the story not too long ago, not even a year or two ago, about the girls who were in the house, who were on the video like, oh, I am okay, nothing's wrong with me, nobody's keeping me hostage, and someone's over there talking. What do you want me to say? like
robots.
That's it.
Like, hello.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Yeah. Good job. Cut.
Right. That's exactly how I felt. Though.
Yeah. Exactly.
Go on camera and say you're okay.
One of the things I noticed between the Michael Jackson parallel and the R. Kelly parallel was like, no one was like, yo, we need to take all of Michael Jackson's songs off the radio. We need to just not play that music. Like, everybody was like, it's the king of pop. Like,
well,
I mean, he's crazy, but no one said.
Not in our community, but in the other communities, there was like some
anymore.
Boycotts, and there was some. I think our community took it differently than theirs.
Trying to take down one of our heroes. One of our used to be heroes when he was brown. We don't know about this beige one. But
I guess because we knew Michael since he was a little boy. I don't know. I don't know what's the difference, but I guess because we knew him since he was a little boy, and different generations knew some part of Michael.
Well, too, and we never got to hear the kids' stories from the kids per se at the time.
That's true too.
It was always like they went to court and everything was under wraps, and when the finally kids did come out and were older, it was like it didn't kind of go like my mom and dad said it went.
Yeah,
and it didn't, and some of that stuff was fabricated. You come to find out later.
Absolutely.
But when you hear these women and you see them and they're not covering their faces and they're like, "This happened to me."
Yeah. So I have a question. How did y'all feel, before I give my opinion, how did y'all feel about the two sets of parents towards the last part of the docuseries? Did you see that?
I hadn't gotten that far, but I do.
Okay.
I did. That was one of the things that I looked at as far as responsible parties. Like,
thank you.
And what type of situation, even with you two coming up at 13, at 16, if somebody was like, hey, I didn't care who your parents was to, whether it was Marvin Gaye or somebody was like, y'all gonna go to Marvin Gaye house. It was like, for what, you gonna fly you across the country, and where you stand, where we stand, because it's different. Like, where we stand.
I was floored when I saw the parents, and they gave the two sets of parents, and they gave their story. And when you watch and you listen to it, it's one thing to watch a girl or a woman, right, a young woman who tells you of the accounts that happened from beginning to end from when she was, 13 or 14 or 15. We already know that mind isn't fully developed, right? We already know that she's vulnerable, okay? So we already know she's starstruck and all of that. But when you hear at the end of this docuseries, these two sets of parents, when they talk about how they took their child to the R. Kelly concert, and the father was like, I knew I heard of the past allegations, but hey, they found him not guilty in court back in 2006. So this was 2008. So I figured it would be okay. I'm going to be there every step of the way. This isn't going to happen to my child. Like, just listening to the parents actually give... They're delusional. And that's what I said sitting on my couch. I sat up on my heel, and I was like, you guys, you gave your daughter to R. Kelly.
Opportunistic.
And it was, thank you.
But it's no different than the Michael Jackson parents either, who let their kids go sleep around in Never Never Land for however long.
Because they thought at some point in some time that their child actually really was going to get on a microphone, on a TV, record an album, and actually be famous. So in my opinion, and I feel like the parents sacrificed their child for opportunity.
And I'll tell you, it's a hard thing because you guys know my son's getting ready to come. His show is airing on Fox February 26th.
Hey.
Shout out. And so as his show comes on for 2 months, I would get him up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We were in LA in a hotel. Get him up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Take him to on-set tutoring, which I could not participate in. There was a camera where I could watch the tutor tutoring the kids, but you're not there. And then from there, go on set and be with adults from literally 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock at night. Every single day, 6 days a week. Now, some of you say, well, no, it's a different opportunity. You got to be on TV. But at the same time, there is this question in your mind, at what point am I pushing my kid too much into TV land and stardom for whatever opportunity may be for them? Right. And what kind of monsters is exposed there? Now, in your mind, you don't think that, right? Like, oh, no, these are all good people. They get background checks. But how about that one guy that always daps him up and pounds him and says, hey, man, let me come show you something in the room. And what do? You let him go. Like, oh, yeah, that's...
You think going down the hallway,
that's nothing.
You think that's nothing, and then that nothing turns into one more. Well, that's nothing. And now they're going across the street. Well, that's not, and then it just turns into the parent getting, or the person, whoever's the primary caretaker of the child. It turns into that's nothing, and it just snowballs and snowballs, and you find yourself sitting in the hotel at the pool while they going to the studio for 4 hours. And then the next thing you know, you don't see your child no more. I was sick and disgusted. Let me first say this. And anybody who know me, I never was a huge R. Kelly fan. I don't know why. I didn't jump in the 90s. I don't know what it was. I liked this song. I can tell you a few songs I like. I like Stepping in the Name of Love. I still would bump my head to Ignition. That was just the jam. Like, the beats was sickening on that song. But I can't tell you, it's remixed to Ignition. But I can tell you right now that I've never, ever heard The Chocolate Factory. Every time I say that, people are like, what? And when the DVD came out of him and the girl and people were watching it, I declined to watch it. I said, I don't want to see it. I don't even want to see it. Peeing on someone? I don't want to see it. Like, I never was a huge 100% diehard R. Kelly fan. When he came to concert, I gotta go. I don't know what it was. I guess I was weird. I was weird that way. I didn't like what everybody else was liking.
What about when they did the whole video series of The Closet coming? Like, he did that whole...
I watched The Closet come up. It was hilarious. It was like a TV series. So I watched that. I watched it. That didn't make me say, oh my God, I love R. Kelly. I liked him and I liked his music, but I wasn't into him like that. Like, these people, there's some people who are saying, I can separate, some people I know throughout these last couple of weeks are saying, I can separate the two. I can separate the man and the music. Some people are saying, I'm not finna listen to this music no more, this, that, and the other. And then some people saying, well, the music didn't do anything to me, so I can separate the man and the music. So I'm like, well, I guess you could separate. I don't know, because I never was a diehard. And these people who are saying I can separate the music and the man, these are people who are, been R. Kelly fans for, 10, 20 plus years. I've never been a diehard R. Kelly fan. So, for me, it's all one thing. Sickening. He's a predator. And I agree with you, Erica, when you said it's one thing to hear about the stories, but this docuseries made him a predator. It didn't make him a freaky person. We already knew he was freaky. Right. We already knew he's bumped and grind. He's, you know, we knew he did that. I mean, that always, you know, got our attention at some point. But now the docuseries made him a predator. So now it showed us that you're sick.
Or it made us realize that he's been sick.
Yeah.
Right.
And
yeah.
it made us force the reality of not covering it up anymore, not kind of saying, nah, it's not a big deal, or it's funny. I mean, we've been making memes about R. Kelly for how long? We've been making every comedian has an R. Kelly joke in the last 20 years.
Dave Chappelle,
this stuff ain't new.
Everybody, this isn't
so the shock of Paul, I'm a little bit like, because I'm like, guys, this has not been.
You knew about it.
We knew.
Like, you knew
we
about
all
it.
knew. This just made it fresh in our minds. This gave us faces to put exactly. So this made it again turn him into a predator.
Right. So from the chat room, Naya says predators, especially pedophiles, are charismatic. They know how to prey on.
Absolutely.
And they know how to gain people's trust. They're not always the weird neighbor in the white van.
Right.
They're your friends and family. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you know, so when I asked, was the docuseries everybody's breaking point? And because they did bring everything back to light, and then they did, like, shine that light on the predatory aspect of what he had going on, I still ask, like, how much of that did you like, what did you learn? Like, most people like, I remember that. Like, he done put out 42 albums since Aaliyah. Like, that's the reality. I'm just making it up. But it's
a lot of work.
It's been a lot. And people like, oh, well, people are able to justify why they will still want to listen to certain people's music and why they don't. And so with Kanye, some people's like, well, I can listen to Kanye's music pre-Kim or pre-slave comment.
Yeah, they want to break it up. It's still the person. You want to break it up. It's just
depending on what it is that puts you in that weird space of conviction, whether it's domestic violence, like, oh, I can't cheer for this basketball player no more because he don't take care of his kids, or I can't cheer for this team because they only got 2 black players on their team, or whatever, however it is that it happens, like, people are always going to figure out, like, hell, Dante Stallworth committed vehicular homicide, and people still cheer for, you know, the Browns on that, because they signed him after that happened. Like, most people be like, yo, you straight killed somebody. And not the same thing. It was an accident. He was driving under the influence, and that type of stuff happened, but it was a whole lot of mistakes made in that whole scenario. One of the biggest things is what I found to be with a lot of these situations is there's nobody to say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. It's all yes men.
But didn't his brother come out a while back and was like, my brother has issues? And we kind of took it as a joke, like, he's hating on him. He made a whole song about,
he did,
like, my brother has issues. And it became a joke. So, you know, one of the sad parts are when people bring this stuff to your attention.
You make a joke of it.
You make a joke. We did the same thing with Cosby. How much of that was memes and Jello pudding stories and ha before this man ends up in prison and we're sitting here going, is it because of the victims didn't look like our sisters and daughters? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
believe that's a big part of it.
You know, when you start talking about young 14 and 15 versus older women who are now XYZ, it's a different story, and it shouldn't be. You know, because it makes us numb to the situations happening in our own homes and in our own family. And for a lot of women who have gone through sexual abuse and understand that, it's not as abrupt as you think it is. It's not as, oh, Uncle Bobby raped me in the back room. You know, it starts off with a touch and starts off with a kiss and a hug and uncomfortable feelings where you don't know. It feels comfortable. I'm supposed to trust you. So I'm trusting you in this situation to take care of me. And then little by little, that boundary gets pushed to where you don't know the difference anymore.
Right. And so we talk about, all right, so for the people in the chat room, how bad does hearing his music affect you? Because, like, I listened to the Breakfast Club, and when it first went down, you know, Envy was over there like, listen, if you still playing his music, you supporting the predator. Like, you supporting the predator, you're supporting, you know, these actions in which they playing the music because it's good music, but at the end of the day, like, you still, like, I asked a lady yesterday at the media mixer that we had up here at Status Network. Shout out to that. That was dope. Shout out to everybody that came through. Miss Vegas for hosting. Jack, Net for making everything go down. I asked the lady, I was like, listen, so let me ask you this. If you get it in, y'all got music playing, Pandora's playing, and a R. Kelly song come on.
You gonna stop and get up?
Does that ruin the mood? Does it ruin the mood? Like, are you like...
Of a party? At a party?
No.
Oh, in the moment?
In the moment.
Some of it in the moment. I have some comments.
Right.
I have some comments here. Jenny from Miami wanted to know, why did his album sales go up since these docuseries? She also said this is not only exposing R. Kelly's sickness, but the sickness of the people in the world who would buy his shit after all we've learned about him.
Well, I think first of all you got to understand there's people who aren't in our culture who didn't even know who he was. So you're gonna have the after effect of Google searches, right?
Right.
You're gonna have the after effect. People
Right.
listen. What is this song? Well, let me go back and listen to this song again.
Right.
So I think you got to attribute some of that to just our curiosity of,
Right.
did this song really say that? And then trying to confirm and deny what song, what albums. You know, I don't think people just in there jamming like, yeah, boy, we're surviving R. Kelly. I don't think it's like that.
You think they're trying to figure out when and where?
We're all FBI agents. Everybody's
Right.
trying to figure out, like, dang, at what point did I miss that this sickness was going on? I mean, to me, the title of the movie made me not want to watch it. Like, if you're going to survive something, you need to survive Katrina.
The
Like,
Holocaust.
Yeah, like surviving the Holocaust.
Right.
Like, I'm like,
Not
when I hear
surviving R.
surviving, I'm thinking of a natural disaster that affects
Right.
millions. You're like, surviving R. Kelly? Like, what the?
Like, we talking about surviving this government shutdown that was on. But, all right, so we look at it and it's like, what? He's not in jail. Police not going to get him right now. What's the deal?
Well, aren't they getting indictments against him? Aren't they trying to?
Yeah, they are. They're trying to.
I think the lady says the whole point of producing it was to start the trail and to start the paper trail and the conversation to get this to happen.
So...
And then nobody got paid. They said nobody got paid. The women did not get paid to tell their stories. That they knew that they were going to be under scrutiny, and that only certain celebrities even wanted to speak about it.
Did it surprise you to see John Legend up there?
Not really.
So what are you trying to say about John Legend?
I'm not trying to say anything.
He's a commercial guy. He has his commercial. I mean, you know.
I was just, you know, when you look and see who's on there, and he was coming kind of from a outside perspective, not necessarily from somebody who
knows him or a friend.
was there. Like,
Right.
there's a whole bunch of people that were there that were commenting, and even with that, I was like, y'all got it was a lot being said. A lot of it was redundant. Like I said, I watched like the first 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of redundant, like, oh, I can't believe he would do that. Oh, I can't believe he would do this. Oh, I can't believe he'd do this. Oh, they had...
It was some bad lace fronts, too.
He was
Okay.
running me here.
Some bad lace fronts and some bad edges.
And so, with all that
I know
being
that has
said,
nothing to do with nothing, but I thought I'll make note of that.
I'm glad you said that instead of me, because y'all would have been saying,
We would've got him.
I'm so bogus. He's so bogus.
That's all you care about? You over there looking at lace fronts?
I was like, ooh.
They didn't have a stylist.
They didn't have a stylist.
But the budget must have been...
No budget.
There's no
Anyway.
budget. They had to do that lace front themselves.
But anyway, like, it's still just crazy to think about, like, there were a lot of people that was just like, hey, I see it, and I ain't gonna say nothing because it's R. Kelly.
Absolutely.
Like, we've all seen, if you went to a high school, there was always some developed chicks at high school, and there was always this dude that was a little older than everybody else. Not just in high school, but even in college. Like, there's a whole lot of dudes. Not a whole lot of dudes, but that guy who had a car.
And who would come and pick up the girl from high school.
Pick up the girl from high school. And, like,
and we all know he was over 20, 21, and she was 17.
He just happened to look young.
And her mom worked 2 jobs. She was on second shift. We all know. We all remember that.
Give her $20 or something, and then, I read, got some lunch this week. Like, that's type of, I mean, it's back in the early 90s, back when I was in high school. But well, late 90s, not early. But yeah, like that happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was always the dudes that was in school or taking one class that had pledged that was waiting on freshmen to come in. 17, 18-year-olds now. Yeah, they legal at 18, but when you 27, you just going to school. I mean, you can take advantage of a 17, 18-year-old freshman. You can't. Like, that's just what it is. I had always been the type that if you weren't of a certain age and you couldn't do everything, then I couldn't talk to you. Like, I couldn't be like, hey, 19, 20-year-old, come to the house and have a drink. I felt like
you can't legally have one anyway.
I think part of it is the industry, and I know probably a lot of us can't really relate to industry because we're not in the industry. But when you're talking about men and women who are unequally put together, 27-year-olds and 15-year-olds, because they all share the same producer and they're all under the same label, and how that looked back then. Because now you see all these other stories. Well, hey, when Jay-Z was this, Foxy Brown was this, and all these people trying to put other stories and correlations together. But whether it's the film industry, which this happens in the film and TV industry a lot too,
right,
where producers and stuff are taking advantage of these young kids, Macaulay Culkins, and you find out that Raz B and all them, those boys got a concert coming out, and they all got molested.
Touched.
What happened to that story? How is he even still out here, knowing that several different people have kind of told the story? That what's his name, the producer?
Was it
Dallas? Is it Dallas? No. There's somebody over them. I can't remember this guy. He just put a book out not too long ago. But that this producer was like, to get in the music industry, you go through me. Yeah. And that meant several different things.
That sounds like Birdman.
That's a whole nother.
Anyway, coming from the chat room, Mailman Moby said them two dudes, John Legend and Wendy Williams, shouldn't have been on there in the first place.
Oh yeah.
Wendy Williams is another.
Wendy had a conversation with him last year. Like Wendy and R. Kelly, they sat down and talked. It wasn't, he said cameras couldn't be there, but I'll talk to you.
What was the point of it?
He called her. This is from her mouth, because I do watch Wendy Williams. I have to catch her a few times a week. I know, disgusting, but I have to catch her a few times, 2 or 3 times. It helps keeps me up on my pop culture.
On your trash?
On the tea. So we're gonna call it tea. We're not gonna call it trash. So I have to catch her sometimes, once or twice a week. And one time last year when I was catching her, she did say that R. Kelly called her and she's gonna go and sit and talk with him. He just told her she couldn't bring cameras, but he would talk to her. Point? So she took her book of, I think things started coming out, or maybe the talk of something coming out, a docuseries coming out next year, which was this year, came up. And anyway, she went and talked to him, and she came back. I remember catching that episode, and she talked about some of the things that they discussed. She didn't say everything because she told him that she wouldn't, but I think that's why they had her on this.
Like, every time I see an R. Kelly interview, he looks severely uncomfortable. Every
time.
Like, in a way, like, soon as
I want him to stop doing interviews. I don't want to see R. Kelly head and ears no more on TV. Because he never, the interview is always cut short, or he always gives you that bland answer, say, well, I choose not to answer that one. Then they go to another question, well, I'm not going to be able to answer that one either. You never get an interview out of R. Kelly. So I just want I don't want to see his ears on TV anymore.
He's sick. He needs to be in a hospital. Like,
it's like every time I look at him, I just
illness.
see. Do you even understand the words that are coming out of the interviewer's mouth?
For all the genius that he is, there's clearly some mental disturbances.
Absolutely.
There.
I know in the docuseries it said that he himself had been molested and exposed.
And that's unfortunate.
Absolutely.
That's unfortunate, because he did go to his brother and tell him. And he brushed them off when he was a kid.
So that's the other way around.
Oh, other way around. Yeah. So that's unfortunate.
It is.
But they both had been getting molested and touched on and whatnot. And like I said, when you get exposed to certain things, and even as a foster parent, we got that training. Like, he had never been put in the foster system, but you get that training that when kids are exposed to certain things, hell, it can either stunt or, take that, whatever it is that they saw, to another level. And so whether it was like, oh, you witness somebody hurting animals, and now you out here killing animals, and then it escalates to something else. When you get exposed to sex at a young age, and now it's something that, you know, it accelerates your process, because that level of curiosity that you have is just something that a lot of people aren't able to control. And so when you have that, it's like, well, damn, I like the way this feels. And so sometimes if it's something done by an older woman, then you probably don't want to deal with older women like that, because it makes you feel some kind of way. And this is not defending him in no way, shape, or form. But then where you feel safe and where you can deal with your insecurities was in those younger women. And I say younger women, but younger girls, because that's what they were. But it had to be a level of insecurity there that would force him to continue to, and along with the sickness, going in there. And yeah, my brother said, when you say teenager, how old are you talking? Like that was a quote.
Yeah, he said that. I saw that.
Teen is one in front of it.
I wanted to stop. I slapped my own face. I was like, Kelly, why?
Damn, bro.
He was like, what do
Over
you mean?
12
Like
and under
teenage? What's a teenage? I was like, Kelly.
So what
Kelly.
exactly is teenager?
Dang. You almost had that out and then you fumbled.
He reminds me of Michael. He went through the same thing when I think
all the interviews he had to do.
Yeah, and that not trying to justify a mental capacity that's like, you're still a little kid. Like Michael Jackson had the brain of a 13, 14-year-old. And to him, and not having his childhood, and I'm not, again, justifying what may or may not have happened, but it's like he was living in this, he wanted to be a kid, Neverland. It's all there. Peter Pan, all the signs and symptoms were there of someone. He never consummated any of his relationships with any of his wives. None of them had sex with him. Even his kids were in vitro. So, like, what are all these signs that something is wrong with this person?
Absolutely.
And that they are living in a completely different world than the world we understand. We cannot understand it. Something is wrong. They needed to be helped.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Right.
And Joe Jackson was not.
He's not the help. He's beating it out of you.
Joe Jackson.
He's gonna beat it out of you.
Joe Jackson was not the help.
He was
so. Joe Jackson won't let him get no nookie, no nothing.
Well, he said too, he was scarred by watching his brothers run through chicks. He said, being the baby, he watched his brothers dog chicks out, girls crying. They had the story about Diana Ross supposedly, and Michael had issue because she's not a predator, but like, you know what I mean? She was all like, she's a predator, but you know what I mean? Like, what do you say? When you got this older woman taking him around, and I'm your best friend. I mean,
that's what it is. So what do y'all feel like the punishment should be?
Take him through the system.
Life, you just punched in the face real hard by like Mike Tyson.
No, take him to the system like the rest of these criminals and rest of these predators and everybody else that we putting on the spot for less than that.
And the reason he got off.
Prison concerts they gonna have? What?
Oh my God!
No, you didn't say that. The reason he got off in 2007. First of all, let's be clear. I do believe that when he got convicted in 2000. Let's not forget that when he got convicted in 2000, he didn't go to trial to 2006. It took that long for him to go through. So the whole time while he's sitting there waiting, and he's making albums and more money and more money and more money. And I feel like because the faces was brown, they didn't put it. If it was a different colored woman, colored skin, they would have been had the trial, just like you were saying. But because all these faces was brown, it took 6 years for them to even take him to court. Then they take him to court, and the reason he did not get convicted was because the child who got peed on and her parents got on stand and said, that is not my child. Watched the tape and said, that is not my child. Then the child who got peed on, she got on up there and she said, that is not my child. So basically, it's just like murder. You can't convict somebody if there's no body.
How much money is it going to take for you to say that wasn't
so true? You can't convict R. Kelly if you're going to sit up here and look at this and say, that's not me. But ma'am, that's not me. And so that's how come he got off.
Well, sure, think about the reward. What is the reward you get from a conviction? He goes to jail, you get nothing.
You get nothing. So they were paid off.
Of course.
It was so much money transaction. And that's my thing. You will sell your child, your seed, down the river over money. You know what kind of message, and then let's talk about on the other end. You know what kind of message you're setting to your child? You're telling your child and you're setting a message of you're not worthy, you're not important, you don't matter.
So the thing that was ending up happening in this situation is that those kids not want to disappoint their parents.
Absolutely.
Going through it.
You got that
just
too.
Deal
Absolutely.
With it. And, you know, I'm still getting a chance to hang with R. Kelly at the end of the day. But I'm going to just deal with this pain, this hurt, not thinking about what this is doing to their own personal psychological well-being, that later on
it's setting them up for, as adult grown women.
Down.
Exactly. It's setting them up for a pattern of lies and broken hearts and believing and trusting and loving in a man that is not loving to them. It's just setting them up for a repeat pattern as grown women over and over again.
Right. Think about who can I ain't gonna say who can, but dating Drea Kelly. Like we met her one time at the gala. Mm-hmm. But dating Drea Kelly right now, she's not an ugly person. Mm-mm. She got a nice spirit, you know, when she out on TV or whatever. But if you can imagine being in that situation, and we talk about relationships, we talk about baggage and stuff like that, and what you have to deal with from somebody's ex, and you know, anything that you might do can trigger something that's still holding on to her in that sort of way. Mm-hmm. It's like, well,
she hasn't healed from. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so at what age? Because she got to be pushing mid-40s, if not
for sure,
a little bit higher. Yeah. And so
I was watching it saying, why didn't she change her last name?
Come on now, money.
And then why, if you're not gonna change your name, why not your kids?
Drea Smith. Well, we know who we talking about, right? Drea Brown.
Who is this? Who is this?
I mean, what about your kid's last name? You know,
well, that's what they're holding on to. They're holding on to the fact
that's not fame.
For the ex-wife of someone famous, that's all you got. That's it, and your child support payments.
We got a question, and he ain't doing that.
Go ahead.
Question: what do you all think about the ladies that are currently with him being held against their will?
Are they still? I mean,
what's weird is, like you said, they did the video where some said they weren't, and you know, at some point, like, so there's got to be people protecting that whole thing, because you can't get out, and you can't. I mean, he ain't at the house all day, every day. So, do you have a mom there watching the girls? Like, is this prostitution?
There? What kind of against the will are they really being held against their will now?
And what does it all take for a police officer to just go up there?
Exactly. Well, they can't let them in. You know, they did the wellness checks, so you can call the police and you can have them come do a wellness check at this address.
Okay.
So some of the a group of parents, or a set of parents rather, did that. They flew to Chicago. They knew the address of the studio, and they called the police, Chicago police, to do a wellness check. So the cops can go and do a wellness check.
Okay.
And they can knock on your door.
Okay.
And they can ask to come in, but if you tell them no, that's it.
Is that what happened? They told them no?
That's what happened. And they wouldn't even. And then one time, they did a wellness check and they wouldn't even open the door. So by law, you can go and do a wellness check, but that's all you can do. You can't go in. You can't force yourself in. You can't demand. You can't arrest anybody.
All these warrants and these police officers knocking doors down.
You can't.
I mean, hold on now.
They can't do anything. Now again, if the face was a little bit brighter, you know, Caucasian, I wonder how that wellness check would have went. But now, exactly. But they did, you know, wellness check. So
we heard you had 3 ounces of weed in here. We got to knock the door down.
Exactly. So at some point, at some point, I guess my question is, and to the person who just asked the question, being held against their will. So now we're talking about girls who are now like 18, 19, 20. I think one was Joe. I can't remember her name. It starts with a J. Jocelyn or something like that. I think she's like 23 now or something like that. So I guess you can say, okay, he's had them. I met them when they were young. So now this predator is in their mind, in their head, got them thinking whatever. So even though they have the opportunity to be by themselves and they're adults and they can't just walk out, when you are preyed upon and you've been with a predator for so long, that predator knows now, I don't have to guard you. I don't have to be in the house. I know that you're not going to escape and you're not going to try to leave.
Right. And leave to what?
And lead to what? Because I've convinced you that nobody loves you, nobody wants you, and your parents are not even looking for you.
Oh, absolutely.
From the chat room, they said the girls said they had cell phones and would text each other to meet in the bathroom, so they had access to the police.
But they chose not to call.
I mean, I do
because they still
like
kids though. At this time, they're still infatuated with the fact that they're in R. Kelly's house.
There's a manipulation there that all that predators do to you that makes you feel like it's okay. It's the same reason why you could be in the house with your stepdad and your uncle or your stepmom and somebody's doing something to you and you could tell. You around all your family and you don't tell. Why are you keeping the secret? So we can't look at it from a logical point of view because this is not logical.
It's not logical. It's not
relatable.
Exactly.
You cannot relate and say, well, if I was there, no, y'all,
you can't say that.
Quiet,
you can't say if I was there, what I was do.
No.
If you got caught up with whoever, whatever, at 14, 15 years old, and first of all, R. Kelly is smooth. If you already strong, there are some strong-minded individuals at age 14, 15. Those are children, I think, that have a two-parent household. Maybe not a two-parent household. It could be a separate household, but they have people in their lives, adults in their lives, that love them, pay attention to them, things of that nature. One girl who sat at his trial every day outside, her mother, I think, was a single mother working 2 jobs. She thought her daughter was at school. She had no idea that she was infatuated with R. Kelly and skipping school, going to this man's trial to wave at him every day. R. Kelly sees that, okay, the predator inside him, he sees that and he says, as soon as I get this not guilty, I'm getting that. And that's what he did. A predator watches and he sees and he scopes and he waits for his opportunity.
Of course.
He don't go up to you. He know you going to come to him.
Well, it's sad that there's so many people blaming the girls. If I see one more person talk about, well, they hot and they thought and they shouldn't be out here, I'm like, these are babies.
Yeah.
There is no excuse to be allowing yourself to blame the babies. I don't care what they thought they were infatuated with or, are you kidding me? So what? When I was a teenager, I had a crush on a lot of people. Prince, whoever. You got him on my wall, singing songs, and oh, he's so fine. Watching Purple Rain 18 million times. And if you had allowed me to go to Prince's house, I would have went.
Yep.
So what? I'm a thought. I'm fast. I'm hot.
Everything,
I mean,
that little man is everything.
back in my young days, I might
still love Prince. Now you wanna know who my idol was? Prince.
He's freaky too.
Not R. Kelly. Prince.
He's gonna get humped on stage. Like, I probably would have been Janet Jackson's slave. Back when I was like 14, like, hey. She was doing that anytime. That
video?
Look, she was on stage humping on people. I was like, Lord Jesus, I see you. Do me. Hey. Well, look, that is our time. I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
Get on up out this thing. I ain't even get a chance. Hopefully, the government shutdown will be over with by the time we come back next Monday. But if
Trump said months.
we gonna talk about that and all the chaos that's going on, and he's gonna get these Mexicans to build this wall.
Most of the babies had to be blamed to a degree. Oh my God, Eric, I'm coming for you.
Stop that madness. You about to.
Yeah, he said blame the babies.
He's about to get locked up. Let me get on up out of here.
Yeah,
listen, if you're in the Atlanta area, we got a Super Bowl block party February 3rd at the Status Network. Go ahead and go to statusnetwork.net for early bird tickets. It's going to be right here in this location. It's going to be dope. Y'all come on through. And like I said, shout out to everybody that came through the media mixer last night. It was super dope. I enjoyed meeting a lot of you folks. But until next time, tune in next week. 9 o'clock, we got this thing cracking again. Erica might have her. Never mind.
Yeah.
You for real?
What?
Now you said you got 6 weeks left?
6 weeks. You didn't even know.
Yeah, she about to get that thing, pump that baby out, shawty. Hey, but yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. Y'all take it easy.
Take it easy.
Be safe out in these streets.